Hello, everyone. I believe that I am live. And let's see if anyone is here. If you are here and would love to say hi, please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know that you can hear me. And I will get right into the things. Let's see. So I'm just going to give it a second. Hi, Jen. Okay, awesome. And you can hear me, I'm assuming. Whew. All right. So, what I am going to do, this is just a very casual hangout. So, Jen, right now, I see that at least you're the only one coming forth in the chat. I'm not sure if other people are watching this, but feel free to ask whatever it is that you desire. Ellie, hi, Ellie. Ellie's in from Texas, and I hope I'm saying that right. Rev Kai, hello, welcome. Awesome. Okay, cool. So feel free to ask me anything you want about astrology, about tarot, astronomy, witchcraft, literally anything. Of course, I did title this a Solstice Hangout. So that is where I'm going to start the conversation. And I'm also going to pull some cards to see what collective message comes through. And then I will open it up to see if anyone wants a card pull for them to see what divine messages are coming for you at the time. Awesome. So what I've been sitting with today, really, and since I did the cosmic climate, which I'm sure you all are familiar with tuning in, I was so excited to see that on the day of the solstice, or more so the night, Venus and the moon have their monthly or monthly meeting. And I do follow the cycle of Venus, in which she has her whole retrograde cycle. And it's a whole process from Kazemi moment of the retrograde and all the way through back to the next retrograde cycle, which I believe is about 2 years, right? She goes through this whole journey of going into the underworld, and she releases her powers, which are in accordance with the seven chakras and the myth, which this myth is an ancient Sumerian myth. And I have a video actually on my channel about this. But basically, she descends into the underworld to meet with her sister and to pay her respects for her sister's death, or her sister's husband's death. And Venus actually, or it's actually known as Inanna, right? Inanna actually had a major part to do with Venus, or with her sister's husband's death. So it's kind of fucked up that Venus was going down there in Inanna. Sorry, I'm like switching all over the place. But it was kind of like not the best idea for Venus to go into the underworld to pay respects when she really had a big part to do with her sister's husband's death. So in order to really in order to move through the gates, right, she had to, or go deeper into the underworld, she had to remove her powers, or her seven like symbols of protection. And they all correspond to a chakra point or energy center. And so after her retrograde is her going into the underworld. And then she has her Kazemi moment, which is actually while she's retrograde, right? Which is actually when she dies. And once she's reborn, essentially, and she's ascending into the heavens, which is the side of the journey that we're on now, she's gaining power back to those centers, right? And so it starts from the root and works its way through the crown. And I apologize because I'm really just skimming the surface on this. And again, I do have a video on my channel that talks a little bit more about this. But anyway, we are on the side of ascension. And so we've been experiencing moments in which we're gaining the power back to our energy centers. And the indication that we've reached another, essentially a gate, right? And therefore shifting our focus to a chakra center is indicated through Venus meeting with the moon, right? So essentially she's meeting at a moon gate. And so on the evening of the solstice, so it'll be at 11:08 p.m. Eastern time, Moon and Venus, Luna and Venus will meet in Leo at the gate of consciousness. So she just moved through the whole journey, which corresponded to the gate of perception, which was a focus on the third eye. And now she is going to be at the gate of consciousness, which is the focus is on the crown chakra. I was taught that it's called the gate of authority. However, recently, as of a couple of days ago, I was like, I don't really resonate with authority or the sense of the gate of authority and that being with the crown chakra. I really connect with the crown chakra as this is the point in which we're like at the point of connecting with creator consciousness. And that's the entry point for divine intelligence to channel through. And so, yeah, gives us a sense and a connection to our own divine authority and our inner authority. However, I just like the word consciousness, and I've been really digging deep into learning different elements and aspects of consciousness and learning that in regards to manifestation and psychic abilities and how we can really do some things when we are able to connect more with the subconscious and the unconscious realm. Like that's where the power really is from what I'm experiencing and what I'm learning. And this actually came as a result from the 28-day ritual that I did. And now that I feel really connected to or even embodying my higher self, I'm like, now what? And the now what is playing in the unconscious realm. So I was very, very excited to see on solstice night. I was like, what is, how auspicious is that moon and Venus meet at the gate of consciousness. So that's my favorite part of this June solstice event. And I am in the works of recording and uploading the astronomy and ritual of solstice. So that's not going to be up until tomorrow, maybe tonight if I'm really productive, but it's a nice day. So I'm going to go outside and play for a little bit. However, I will definitely have that up by tomorrow at some point. So Ellie says, or Eli, is that how you say it? Eli? Eli says, Mercury and Gemini and Venus and Leo energy is throwing me. Oh, yes. Okay. So I have been back into my mode of anxiety. It has not been fun. Like I'm getting really two sides of the same coin. Like it's definitely been a heady experience. I've been really anxious. Everything's moving very fast. My daughter, who is 3.5 years old, she has a full moon in Gemini. And then her rising is Sagittarius, her sun Sagittarius, and she has Mercury right on the ascendant in Sagittarius, right? So she's getting, it's like her Gemini and Sag energy is turned up, and I don't have any fire. I mean, I have Uranus and Sag, and I barely have any air, no Gemini. So I'm just like, will you chill the F out? So I really am having a hard time with this Gemini energy, specifically Mercury and Gemini is just a lot. And yeah, I think what I'm really picking up for as far as spiritually or in spiritual practice is this is another challenge of perception is what's coming forth, right? What we're feeling, what we're experiencing, especially if it's the same triggers or the same challenges, or whether it's mental health, emotional health, physical health, if those challenges are resurfacing, because it's not just me or you. I've been hearing and connecting with others who are really, things are coming up and it's like, yo, I dealt with this. Like I was going very well. And now it's all like an ocean wave. What I'm sensing with this is that we are being challenged with our levels of perception. We're being challenged to go deeper and to move beyond the conscious state, and to really open ourselves up to the unconscious and to like connect with the subtle energies, which I mean, I've been talking about that for some time. And now I really see that coming to like full force. Here we are. So it's been a lot. It's definitely been a lot. Jenna, am I saying that right? I remember you told me in the symposium, is it Jenna or Jonna? It's Jenna, right? I think I'm right. But Jenna says, so happy to be here now. Oh, I'm happy that you're here too. Jen K, the energies lately have had me ripped wide open and re-examining my life and what is no longer working for me. I am looking forward to going to a fire arrow ceremony tomorrow night so I can release it. Oh, that is so perfect. I'm in a cocoon, readying myself to blossom again. I feel my guide strongly right now. Yes, I love that, Jen. That is the best thing. One of the best things you can do for solstice is being around a fire, especially with other people, and just honoring the warmth and the heat and the activation. And right now I'm getting, I don't know if you can even see, probably not, but I'm getting chills on my body. And so that really feels divinely aligned. And yeah, I really connect with that. Anna with the J. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jonna. Yes. I was like, I felt like that was correct, but I was second guessing myself because my mind is going a million times a minute. Hello, Shari, joining from Central Texas. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, I'm just talking about the energy I'm connecting with right now and what is coming up for June solstice. As I said, I'm going to pull a few cards here. And then if you want a card pull for you, I will invite that after the collective reading. And yeah, so I assume I'm going to be here for about half an hour. Yeah, about 30 more minutes. But yeah, so that is, what I'm really feeling right now is we're being challenged to open or deepen our levels of perception. In addition to this, I'm loosely following the Hellenistic moon void of course. And just to keep it brief, essentially that moon void of course from the Hellenistic perspective, and I believe there's many different perspectives, but what I am connecting with and just, experimenting with to see, or I guess you could say observing, is basically the moon is not making any major aspects, that meaning conjunction, square, trine, sextile, and I feel like I'm in opposition to any of the traditional planets. So that would be Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, right? And so that happened, which I say moon went into the void. That was Sunday night. And she will come out of the void solstice morning, which another synchronicity with the solstice energy. However, what I really connected with this particular moon void, of course, is that yes, while the moon is not making connections to these visible planets, she, however, is making connections to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And these are considered to be, you could say, the outer planets, transpersonal planets, planets dealing with the subconscious and the unconscious realms. And it's just all so fucking connected. Like, I don't even need to go deep into it. I can just say that. And I know that you all are picking up this energy and you're feeling it. And so everything's been kind of loud, but also been quiet. Like it's like a loud background noise is what it feels like for me. And so I was really also just sitting with the presence of that. And not only is the moon in the void, but she's also in her home sign of Cancer in the void, right? So it felt also like we're returning back to the womb, which is really significant when it comes to, really doing any kind of healing work, shadow work, learning more about yourself. And it's just like this cycle, right? And I do feel with the solstice, we are being birthed, right? We're being birthed into this deeper level of perception. Our channels are open. That was literally in the oracle message for this week in the cosmic climate. And so now it's like, what are you going to do with this? Like, what lies beyond the unconsciousness, or what lies beyond the gate of consciousness is where I'm going with that. So I'm really excited. Yes, symposium. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to it too. All right, so I'm going to pull some cards here. I feel pretty good with that. Again, I'm going to have a video talking about the solstice and my goal was to have it, a couple of days before solstice, so maybe people could use it to prepare. However, life and Gemini energy, it ain't going to be up before the solstice. So, I hope you still watch. But let's see what messages are coming through. Actually, I want to pull from my Living Will astrology card deck. So we've been talking about Venus moon solstice. I want to see if there's any other astrology or just any other aspects of, the universe we're being guided to pay attention to. So I haven't used this oracle deck in a while, and it's awesome. Line for the divine for guided messages. All right, that wanted to come out. Oh, nice. Okay, nice. Is there one more? Yay, this deck really wanted to be used today, because usually it takes me a while to get any cards from this, but they flew out right away. Okay, any other? Is there one more? There's two more. Oh, I don't think I've actually seen this card in this deck, which is Earth. I love that. I really, really love that. That's sweet. And what I'm thinking about with the solstice, and as I'm doing my videos and preparing, when I do the astronomy and ritual of these Sabbats, or in the pagan tradition, the holy days, and it's really an observance and celebration of Earth, the relationship between Earth and Sun. And so I just feel I feel really good to receive this Earth. And this is definitely pointing out the importance of connecting with nature. So already I've done astronomy and ritual videos on Imbolc, March equinox, Beltane, and now I am preparing to do one on June solstice. And the connection is always, it's the sun, it's the fire, it's really the elements as well, and flowers, and it's just all the connections of Earth is so powerful in these moments. Like these particular holy days, these celebrations are encouraging us to get outside and be in nature, gather with others, connect with, the corresponding plants and what's in season at that time, what's the energy of the planet. And I look at it really as a whole, or I try to approach it as a whole when I do the astronomy aspect. And then when I get into the ritual, that definitely is very significant to where you are on Earth. And so I just really feel the energy of Gaia is so powerful. And I love seeing that, because I honestly don't remember Earth actually being in this, astrology deck. So that's amazing. Mary, QZ, Susanna. Yes. Okay. Welcome. Mother Earth in the house as I join, go figure. Yes. Symposium Sunday. And Susanna's here from Maine. Awesome. Okay, so Earth, very, very important, as we know. And this is our grounding force when we are really stuck in our heads, or even if you're playing with the unconscious realm, bringing our energy, our awareness back to where we are, like literally having our ground or having our feet on the ground is really important. And that's something I have to remind myself to do all the time, because I am literally always sitting with my legs crossed, even on a bar stool, or I feel like I walk funny, like I don't really have my foot fully on the ground, or the awareness of it. So that's really coming forth as I've been talking about levels of consciousness and playing in that realm. We do want to remember that if we feel disconnected, this was also in the oracle for the week, if we feel disconnected, go outside and breathe, right? Or just breathe, taking the elements of the air around you that is in abundance on our planet. Even though lately it's been compromised, it's been really intense here in New York. All right, so the 3 additional oracle cards from this astrology deck, we got Aquarius, we got the full moon, and we have the 10th house. So I'm just gonna sense this here and see what's coming forth. Oh, this is so easy. This is literally what I was connecting with earlier for solstice and the theme and the vibe of solstice. This is the time of year, specifically if you are in the northern hemisphere, where there is a strong vibe of power, of abundance, and of warmth, of heat, of just the activation. And what's really coming forth too that I had to remind myself is that when you look at the nature outside at this point in time, there are a lot of flowers coming up that still haven't bloomed. There are a lot of plants growing out of the ground that aren't fully at their point of fruition and ready to harvest. So this is something that really came through for me because I was in my head about, hey, I'm working on manifesting these things. I've been putting in the work. Like, where's my abundance? Like, what's happening? And also, like I spoke about as well, with, having these cycles of recurring pain and anxieties and just emotional instability and just whatever the challenges are you're experiencing at this time that seem like it's a repeated cycle. Again, we're being challenged to go deeper within our levels of perception and how we really connect to what is coming up to the surface. Because if it's here, if you're feeling it, if it's in your level, your state of awareness, it's online for a reason. And so again, everything's kind of coming up to visibility, and we can balance that aspect with getting a sense on that intuitively and with other levels of perception and really drawing in that divine intelligence. And the divine intelligence is how I really just see the sun as, right? When I'm looking at astrology, my main correspondence of the sun is divine intelligence. And that's really significant. And that is literally, we're opening our crown chakra, our consciousness to divine intelligence. And with the full moon here, again, between the full moon and in the 10th house, both of those are manifestation, visibility, illumination. The 10th house represents in astrology. I know some of you know, but in case there's people that aren't familiar, the 10th house represents your purpose, your career, public recognition, success, achievements, visibility, you in your public life. And then when I see Aquarius here, this feels like service. This feels like this flow of divine intelligence, this energy exchange, which being in Gemini we're not in, well, yeah, technically we're in Gemini season. We don't enter Cancer season until tomorrow, but I'm also thinking about the lunar cycle that we're in of Gemini. There is a focus, especially when it comes to the moon and manifestation and embodiment of connection, of engagement, of an energy exchange, right? And so we're also being guided to connect to our creative gifts, again, with the sun energy and Venus and Leo, moon and Leo having their meeting, opening up to divine intelligence and that creator consciousness. So I know I'm coming up with a lot, but that's how the energy is right now. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and see what is coming forth in the tarot. But I definitely, with the Aquarius energy, Aquarius is empty right now since Pluto is, let me just check though, right? But yeah, Aquarius is there's nothing going on there, at least in the traditional perspective with the transpersonal planets. Just checking so nothing in Aquarius. Pluto just recently moved retrograde back into Capricorn to finish old business in that, or unfinished business, to complete that in Capricorn. And so now we're in a clear space with our Aquarius energy. And if you just reflect back simply to March of this year, when Pluto entered into Aquarius, what was coming up for you? I know a lot of us were really activated. We were ready to be of service or be in community or really share our gifts, or we just felt really inspired, right? And we were really connecting to that stream of divine intelligence, that cosmic universal intelligence. And there's something there, but we have to, again, reflect, go back and clear out our channels, and get a deeper perception of the challenges. So Jonna says, is wondering if bringing elements of Age of Aquarius to Earth right now. Yes, exactly. And with the Aquarius energy too, there is the, it's the collective consciousness. It's also a very inclusive sign. So when you think about Capricorn, it's like, this is my family, this is my tribe, this is my city, my country, whatever. Like, it's very in or exclusive. When we get to Aquarius, it's more of like opening up those borders, opening up those boundaries, and creating some sort of structure, but a structure that everyone can thrive, everyone can, evolve and such. Aquarius has that humanitarian connection. So I would say absolutely bringing in the Age of Aquarius. Also, Aquarius is brilliant, like a brilliant mind. I definitely see Aquarius as the medium between the collective and the universal energy. So those universal teachings, they could be stereotyped to be the mad scientist. So how do we innovate? That innovation is a good one, right? So as the challenges, the old like habits and patterns come forth individually and collectively, and we get a sense of that, how can we be innovative to really help to relieve, to remedy that, or do something different? So that was a very good question, or observation. All right, so what additional messages do we have? We already got 2 so far. Is there one more? Thank you. Okay. All right. So this one fell face up, which is the 6 of Pentacles. This simply feels like the give and receive, the energy exchange. This is more so doing with resources, balance, fairness, charity and such. So it feels like a bit of, what was mentioned, what Jonna mentioned about, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. My mind, I totally went somewhere else. So about Aquarius, Age of Aquarius elements, and even with the Gemini. And you know what? We are in this, what is it? Age of Air, essentially, with what was it? It was, I should know this, right? The astrologer. It was with the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which will result in air conjunctions, their alignments in air signs for 200 years. I believe that's right. But yeah, there's a focus on the air energy. So I'm thinking Gemini and Aquarius, and seeing the scales, I of course think about Libra. So yeah, there's a focus on relating, on innovation of the mind, because at the end of the day, our minds, our thoughts create reality. It's true. Like, I believe that. I strayed away from it. Not saying I didn't believe it, but I just didn't put a lot of thought into it. And here I am back again, playing with the same magic, playing with the same practices within the mind. And I'm just like, for me, with the old programming that's been coming up and the anxiety and the emotions, I'm like, what the fuck is going on autopilot in the subconscious or in the unconscious that is blocking me, right? I'm sick of it. I'm done. Like, it's so annoying. Like, I feel pretty good. I'm doing all of the work. I'm getting all, and I'm like, listen to what I'm about to say, but I'm like, oh, I'm getting all the positive, reflections or results, but there's specific things that I desire that have not manifested. And it's been a long desire, and I've gotten to the root of a lot of it. That is definitely aspects of my upbringing, my childhood, my family. So you could say ancestral, but there's something there. I'm like, okay, now I know that, and I'm remedying that. Okay, what else is going on, right? So what's going on beyond the gate of consciousness? And so again, the mind, and there's just so much there. And I will also share, I've been watching some YouTube videos on, what is the name of this woman? Juliana Moore, or no, that sounds like an actress. But anyways, she is someone who she's a scientist that studies consciousness and precognitive thinking and dreams and all of that stuff. And I was just listening to it, but she was talking about time travel, which is like, here we are in Age of Aquarius type vibe. And she said it in such a practical way where she was like, when we're thinking about time travel and we see it in the movies, it's like literally people going back in time in the past to talk to like a dead parent or something like that. And then it changes everything, or they change something. And she was like, that's kind of like the hardest way, or that's time travel with all the elements within it. However, she said time travel can simply just be I don't know how to speak right now. Okay. Time travel can simply be getting information about the future, receiving information about the future. So she mentioned informational time travel. So if you're able to gain some sort of insight from, say, your future self, or like about some future event, or that divine intelligence, you can then make the decision that you desire that will be in alignment with that particular desire, right? And so it's almost like this was a random event, but you were able to tune in or to attune to a certain vibration where you're tapping into aspects within your unconscious or divine intelligence, and you can then make an informed decision or action based on what was received, right? And what felt vibrationally good, right? And when she said that in her own words, I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally becoming very real. So precognition is essentially the scientific word of knowing something before it happens. Like you can think of maybe a premonition, or it's just the ability to sense, like your psychic sense of just like knowing before it happens. And then, if it's true, it happens, right? So it's like the knowing before it happens and then it happening. That's all tied into precognition abilities, which we all have. So it's just a matter of strengthening that connection to the mind and having the practices and being able to, navigate different states of consciousness. And yeah, so it's a whole thing. And that's kind of where I'm deep diving. So, I will be sharing that. Yeah, so we have my rising is Capricorn, but I feel so tense with or against some of that energy. Capricorn. So, Jonna, Capricorn is, I know it's one of those signs. I have a lot of Capricorn, so I've lived with the stereotypes and also had to learn to love it. And what I love about Capricorn, aside from, obviously the like, everything has to be this way, it's not ready yet, it has to be perfect, just all the resistance and boundaries that Capricorn can bring. Out of that, if you're able to balance that energy, Capricorn really just wants mastery. It wants discipline. It wants devotion. And so if you can channel that energy into some sort of, whatever it is, that basically what I've learned is like to give myself little structures or boundaries with things, or even like routines, which I hated. I have Aquarius sun. But once I started to get in a little bit of that structure with the understanding that I'm going to be really good at this, and this will be, help me be successful with XYZ, even if it's like a relationship with myself. I don't know. I just really enjoy the dedication and the discipline to really being a master at your own craft, whatever that is, or, being successful at achieving your goals. Because a lot of people don't have that ability to have that structuring energy, or that foundation of like Capricorn or earth signs in general. So when you have that, and you can embrace it and balance it, it will really work as like a very strong ability. Being tenacious with passion projects. Yes. And also taking advantage of Capricorn, with the boundaries, right? And it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And then it's like the step by step aspect, you know, but then also there's the fine line of like not getting too extreme with that, right? So it's always a play on balance. All right. So I'm gonna answer some more. I think there's a question there about retrograde. And so I'm going to just finish these cards right here, and then I'm going to answer that. So as I mentioned, we have the Six of Pentacles, and this really speaks to, if it speaks to resources, and I would say the physical realm, maybe productivity and just that energy exchange, right? And we were talking about the presence of the air elements with the social aspect and the energy exchange. Then the main card here, since it's a major arcana, so this is making a big statement, is the Hierophant, right? And so what I always see, yes, of course, this is, you know, Pope energy, you know, when you see it at face value. However, Hierophant, it is the gatekeeper. It definitely is a gatekeeper, right? And I'm going to show you, this is the divine, this is the counterpart to the High Priestess, right? And so what's happening here is that this is indicating that we are being initiated. We're at a gate, right? We're at a threshold, which we're coming up to solstice, right? And we also are, I discussed Venus and the moon meeting at the gate of consciousness, right? And so this is just, I feel, emphasizing that Venus also corresponds to this card loosely through Taurus's correspondence to the Hierophant, right? So again, we're bringing it back to the earth, the structure, the physical realm, and we're you know, just reflecting with Venus as well. So that's really good that the Venus aspect is coming forth. And yeah, so the next card here is the Seven of Wands. And this is kind of like we're not necessarily back up against the wall, but it's kind of like nowhere else to go. And what is actually really standing out to me as well is the ground that he's on. I never have paid attention to that. And it looks like earth, right? It looks kind of just like an earth plane. I've never noticed that. And I really get excited because I've been reading tarot for so long, when there's something within the card that stands out to me that hasn't before, I'm like, whoa. So, you know, and he is essentially on like a cliff, or it looks like there's an edge there, right? So we're kind of pushed up against the edge with our desires, with our actions, you know, and where the feet are on the ground though, right? In this card, I tend to read it as overcoming your challenges, or you're in the moment of, you know, overcoming your challenges. And so with the Hierophant, seeing that here, and it's like we're at a threshold where there is a call for balance, right? For an energy exchange. So is there something that needs to be given, or is there something that needs to be received to allow you, or to break through some sort of boundary, right? Some sort of gate. I just want to show you really quickly the High Priestess, because I just love seeing them together. So we have the High Priestess, and it's a very, with the Hierophant and the High Priestess, it's definitely a very spiritual, especially with the High Priestess, it's more esoteric. And that's where we get the correspondence to the moon and the records and water. And, you know, you can even see her gown or her robe is kind of turning into a stream of water. And that's carried out throughout other cards in the tarot and the major arcana. And there's just like this element of something like we haven't really got there yet. And this is really making me think again of, while yes, we're in a moment of abundance and there is, you know, we can feel it, we can see some elements coming up to fruition, but think about where real midsummer, the peak of summer, is actually in Leo season, right? So halfway between autumn, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, halfway between summer and autumn is going to be that peak of summer and of abundance, of fruition. So this literally, with the Hierophant, it really indicates that there's a little bit more that we have to overcome. And you will be, you know, I want to say rewarded, but yeah, like the balance is the scales are balancing out is where I'm going with that. So all right, so the cat next door is asking, how does the retrograde affect Capricorn Venus placement? Are you so I'm assuming that you're talking about Venus retrograde. And so actually, from what I've learned from Gemini Brett, because he really follows the Venus cycle as well. And he's the one that I learned about the moon gates with or from, as well as another astrologer. I have like two different perspectives that I kind of connected and made into my own. And so what I learned from Gemini Brett is that essentially, right, you have the Venus cycle, which is a period of about 2 years from retrograde to retrograde. And so you, in the Cazimi moments, which means when Venus has her divine alignment with the sun, like the exact alignment, that's Venus Cazimi. So Venus is in the heart of the sun. It's a very auspicious moment. That those points and those signs are very significant to the Venus cycle of that time, right? The 2-year cycle. So the reason why I'm saying this is because we are soon to complete the Venus cycle that corresponds to Capricorn, Libra, like Capricorn sign and Libra sign, because the Venus Cazimis were recently within Capricorn and then Libra. So when Venus has her Cazimi in Leo, that with this retrograde cycle, that is the beginning of a new Venus 2-year cycle. Hope I'm getting this right. So what I'm just tuning into right now with the retrograde on Capricorn Venus placement, that feels like there's going to be some sense of completion, really bringing full circle what's been coming up for you with the Venus and Capricorn aspect. I know Venus and Capricorn can be a little bit challenging when it literally comes to relating, because Capricorn wants, again, to protect and to keep things safe, and it provides a container for that safety. But on the flip side, we can end up, closing people out, like shutting ourselves in, being very distant in a sense, and just being very apprehensive about opening up and being vulnerable in situations that, if we're closing down ourselves, then there's obviously been a reason in the past, right? So we're on the what is it? Like it's a response, right, to that. And so what will probably come forth is, possibly a realization of some things, and it might be a closure of maybe a 2-year cycle for you in regard to your relationships. But yeah, I think it's going to be really significant nonetheless. So, and I can say a lot about Capricorn because my moon is in Capricorn and I have a couple other planets in Capricorn. So it's an interesting sign to navigate when it comes to relating and to emotions and such. Okay, so thank you for that beautiful reframe. Very different than my sun and moon. Libra sun, Aries moon, and ascendant. Balance is always a struggle. Yeah. Awesome. So does anyone want a card pulled for them? And I'm going to try to just do one card pulls. We'll see if that works. I feel really good with the message that's come through already. I'm happy to pull a card for you all. And thank you for, tuning in. Thank you for, supporting with the comments and just showing up in the chat. I really love that engagement. And because I can talk about this stuff all day long. And yeah, thank you everyone. And I'm assuming if you're commenting in the chat, you definitely are a subscriber. But if you're just watching and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing if you really resonate and enjoy with what I talk about. And I can confidently say my space is a space where we can just talk about all the weird things, anything that comes forth. I do not judge. And I 9 times out of 10 have gone down that rabbit hole with whatever's coming up for you. And so my son is Aquarius, so I can definitely get weird with all the things. Thank you. Relationships have been quite challenging. Yeah. Okay. Shari would like a card pulled. Is there anything specific, or do you want to just see what comes up? I'm going to shuffle here. Thank you, Eli. Ooh. All right. So Shari, I'm going to pull a card for you and we'll see what comes forth. Divine messages for Shari at this time. What does Shari need to know at this time? What does Shari need to know at this time? Okay. I'm going to stick with one. We'll see if I'll probably have to get more, but I'm going to have to get more, right? Okay. So Queen of Swords. Now I'm just tuning in to see what really stands out to me in this. I keep really focusing here on the bottom of her throne, like the crescent moons. And it's like the waning and the waxing moon. And I don't even think those are actual moons for the card, but that's what's standing out to me, and the butterfly underneath and on top. So what's coming forth here is that whatever you're going through at this time, you are, one, divinely protected. I really feel connected to the wings on this card. Also, this is, again, a journey, a point in your life of deep transformation. And I almost feel like seeing this waxing moon here, or waning moon, I definitely feel that this transformation, this process, this cycle is coming to a close. So it's nearly complete. And just zooming out to the rest of this card here and the energy I'm picking up, and it's all coming through really fast. And I like how she's prepared, like she's prepared for whatever's coming her way. And again, with the rosary around her wrist there, again, another message of divine protection. And now I'm just seeing the cape here, which I don't also pay attention to, is that she's literally wearing a cape of clouds. So she is in power of, her thoughts. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, she's owning her thoughts, I guess you could say. I don't think that's what I was going for, but that's what's coming through. Like, she's wearing it with honor, right? Her mind, her thoughts, her ideas. And this is the Queen of Swords. And she's I think she's the only queen that's really looking firmly at something, or like ahead, essentially. And she's waving it on, right? And there's the aspect of truth as well. Truth with this sword. And then I love seeing my blackbirds, and I'm just going to say these are crows in the background because I love crows. So there's a message coming as well, and she's ready to receive the message. And so bringing it full circle, what I'm getting is that, one, you're divinely protected. This challenging cycle is almost complete, in which you will be transformed into this beautiful aspect of yourself. Trust that, right? Even around her head, our crown is a crown of butterflies. So trust that, and trust that you're divinely protected. And with this aspect of trust, with this openness, you will receive this message, this something coming through that will really give you the confidence, and you'll know that cycle has completed in the receiving of whatever this divine intelligence is that's coming forth your way. So boom, I don't even have to pull another card. Good morning, Jamila. It's morning there, right? You're on the West Coast. Love it. Thank you, Tessa. I used to live in Boulder, Colorado, and also Denver. Boulder for a really long time. And right before I moved to New York, I was working at a greenhouse in Boulder. Also, I was working at, you could say a plant shop, metaphysical shop. It had all the things, crystals, herbs. So I really enjoy caretaking with plants, and I will always take plants home and rehab them. And so I moved here with a ton of plants, and of course got more. So, okay. So Cat Next Door says, please pull one from my current blockage and how to overcome in getting my startup operational. Okay, cool. Oh, yay. Shari felt that message. Okay. Tuning into the Cat Next Door. Whew, okay, what energy? Okay, that kind of came up right away. This is a challenge. I'm like, am I going to have to get another one? All right, so this is what has been received. So let me sit with this for a second. Okay. So what's really standing out to me is her feet. Let's see if I can make this brighter. One foot is on the ground and one foot is in water. And naturally, this is bringing me to the nature of my conversation earlier, which I don't know if you were here, but I was talking about the different levels of consciousness and how you can really just simply our thoughts create our reality, right? And how also with the oracle message, there is a call for balance while we are, say, exploring the realms of consciousness and ideas. We also want to make sure that we are also feeling the ground around us, connecting to nature, connecting to the elements, connecting with earth, right? It's almost like a check-in, like we get this divine intelligence or we get this insight, this idea, and we want to ground that or check in with the earth beneath us, right? So it's bringing down the heavens and merging that with earth, which is actually what I'm going to be talking about in the symposium a bit, or what we will begin to talk about. And so that is with, with this card in general, right? It is indicating that there is a feeling of imprisonment by the mind, feeling restricted, feeling trapped, like there's nowhere to go in a sense. And what the main message I get with this card is that it's all in your mind, right? And I hate, that's really a kind of a shitty way to say that, right? But it's, when you really zoom out of things, it's like, wow, a lot of it, like, it's like, even the replay of the challenge, the replay of the trauma in the mind, like on repeat, that keeps us in restriction, right? And so, you want a little bit more what? Sorry, my toddler. Okay. So this is essentially, yes. With this card though, it's like her feet are free, right? So she can literally run away, or maybe she can wiggle out, right? And so it's like getting creative with your freedom, with releasing from bondage. But what's really truly standing out to me is the foot in water, foot on the ground. So if you're able to ground in these ideas or these thoughts, right, into, let me just sit for a second because I did get distracted. I feel like this card, is this Mercury and Gemini? I can't remember what the astrology is with this one. Now I got to check. Sorry, I'm going to check to see if this is. Eight, 9, 10. It's Jupiter and Gemini. Okay. So the astrology correspondent to this card is Jupiter and Gemini. And so that makes so much sense. right? Because when we think about Jupiter, and if Mary's still here, I'm going to shout out to her because she's mentioned this before, where it's like Jupiter, we have the abundance, right? We have an excessive amount of something that, of course, can be really good in some ways, but that abundance can also be heavy and a lot in some ways. And so within the realm of this card is like an abundance of thoughts, an abundance of perspective, an abundance of, you know, whatever's coming through that's keeping you, like, you feel again that trapped energy. So the guided message with this here is to check in with the ground beneath you. And that is something that I don't know why it's bringing me back to that, but it's like play in both realms, right? So enjoy that cycle and get really, possibly even get some structure around within the realm of consciousness, or structure around your ideas, right? And so were you the one that you brought up Capricorn? I know you did, right? So you had what, Venus in Capricorn, possibly. So yeah, it's like that Capricorn, I feel, will really be of service in this way, right? Being discerning with what's coming through. And that discernment is that earth check, that grounded check, but then also playing and with the ideas, and just, yeah, because on the flip side, Jupiter is expansion, is abundance, is growth, is expanded levels of consciousness or comprehension. So which side of the coin are you, tuning to, is what I'm getting with that. All right, so I'm going to pull one more. Let's see who the next person is, if there's anybody, okay? Because I'm going to have to wrap up here. Innovating adult mental health. Oh, yeah. For your insight. Yes, awesome. Whew. Amazing. All right, beautiful people. I'm not really seeing anyone else. I want to be mindful so I attract the abundance I desire. Okay, Jamila, a card for you. I'm so excited that I am able to do the one card. I'm playing with my Capricorn placement right now. All right, so this is the last one. Just want some insight on your path. Okay, awesome. All right. Connecting, get divine insight and messages for Jamila on her path. Thank you. Okay. All of this mental energy coming forth here. All right, so let me just. Okay. So we got the 7 of Swords here. And this was actually I was looking at the card to see what caught my attention. It was really easy. It was, which I've never noticed really, is the people here in the background. Like, what are they doing? Are they planning something? And now that I'm looking into it, it kind of almost looks like they're just talking, maybe gathering, who knows? But while they're doing this, this person is, getting the knives, getting the swords. And this is an interesting card because it is stereotyped for the message of something going on behind the scenes. It could literally be like the whole truth isn't revealed, right? And this, kind of falls in line with the energy I'm picking up on for the solstice, as far as, we're at this point of a threshold and there's an initiation process happening. So we are not privy to the insight or just some sort of information. Seven of Swords. This is Aquarius energy. And is this Saturn in Aquarius? Now I have to check. La 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 la. Saturn in Aquarius. Yes, that's what I thought. Or no, I'm sorry. Moon in Aquarius. Is that really? Moon in Aquarius? No, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, Moon in Aquarius. Okay, interesting. This is tricky. It's like, I don't know. It's really, I really don't want to pull another card, but Jamila, I might for you, because this card has such a strong stereotype to it, right? Of something going on behind the scenes. But what's really, it's like not even trying to give me the insight, right? I'm not gathering what's coming forth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull one more card. You know, I'm breaking the rules here for myself. And I was really eyeing my Egyptian tarot, and I would almost stop to, you know, change decks, but I decided not to. So I'm going to just see what's coming forth. You're still in acupuncture school. Your sun sign is Aquarius. I like the knives aspect with the acupuncture. That's cool. Okay. All right. So we'll see what additional card we get here. Because I'm going to be fully honest. I'm like, you know, I like the mystery. That's what I get. There's something going on. You know, it could even be, you know, there's something going on behind the scenes that you aren't privy to yet. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, especially when I think about the moon, the moon holding, you know, the secrets or like the records, like it holds, you know, memories and just elements of the past and the future, who knows, right? And that's with Moon and Aquarius, there's this aspect of Aquarius, again, being that channel between the cosmos and the collective, and throwing the moon in there, and there's some element of intuition. And so what I see here with the people in the back, it's almost like I'm like your spirit guides or something is, you know, there's a meeting happening, you know, and that's all they're showing. Oh, okay, that came out quick. All right, so we got the 5 of Pentacles. And so I'm just going to gaze at this for a minute. Of course, the eye, of course, is standing out to me. And so this would be the left eye. Interesting. It's weird because it's like, again, my level of perception is messing with me, because I was staring at the eye for a minute, and then I started looking at the pentacles, like the disc, and I lost the visual, the awareness of that 5th pentacle, because I was like, oh, why are there 4? And I'm seeing this one in the center, and I'm not seeing the 5th one. Then I had to tune back in. I'm like, oh, there's the 5th one in the middle. So again, there's something going on with the level of perception and like focusing in on that 3rd eye. So maybe that's what's coming forth is, you know, shifting your level of perception, the way you're seeing, you know, whatever's coming up for you, especially again, we're here within the context of the mind. Speaking of Moon and Aquarius, so there's that level of tuition, and thinking of intuition, I'm thinking about the 3rd eye and the capabilities of the 3rd eye and the levels of perception, and literally seeing the eye here is drawing me to the mind's eye. And so what I'm seeing here, and especially if there's something going on with resources, because this is the 5 of Pentacles. So, you know, while you're in acupuncture school, when you're learning, and where we are right now, there's a lot of focus on resources, whether it's we have the abundance of it and lack of it, whatever, what may have you. If whatever there is going on with the aspect of like, I don't have enough, to change that dynamic, you know, it's really guiding you to getting the guidance through possibly dreams, meditation, right? Because it's like sitting here in the physical, literally, it's like, I can't get this. I'm not getting this message. And then when I look more into the eye and that one pentacle disappears, the energy felt so balanced. I'm like, oh, it's so perfect, right? There's 4 pentacles. There's the two cobra heads. You gotta wait. Okay, I'm almost done. So yeah, that's like what I'm getting a sense of, balancing out the mind, balancing out the resources, getting the insight that you are seeking is to, go within the realm of the dreams or meditate or both, right? And it's interesting when I get stumped on things like this too, there's also this knowing that the person that I'm connecting with, it's almost like the divine is like, we're not giving you the answer because you already know how to get the answer, right? Sometimes they'll give it, but you're in this process of, there's a lesson that's happening. There's a teaching that's happening, right? And I do like that with the number 7. It is, there is this vibration of mystery and devotion to some sort of path of deeper understanding. There's some like luck and wonder to the number of 7. There's some element of like, you gotta go deep with it to really get that insight. Awesome. Or maybe holding on. So Mary says, maybe holding our tongues and collect all information before contributing your feedback. Yep. Mary also says, I get that although you may feel like you're in the eye of the storm, there are feminine energies watching over you. All bases are covered. Yes. Especially seeing the 4 pentacles. It's like, and even the 4, the 4 pentacles or disc here, like protecting the 1, or you could look at it as the grounded protection structure around that 1 pentacle. So again, resources are protected. You're protected. So there's definitely a collective theme going on. So Jamila's saying, yes, I need this affirmation. I've been feeling like I'm not sure how I'm going to afford tuition, but I appreciate this reminder. Go within. Yes. All right, Susanna, I'll do one more. And let's see if it's going to be a 1 card, and then I'm going to hop off. All right. Diamond endure great pressure before shining. Yeah. All right. Career change. Okay, I'll give you one more. 1 second, everyone. You get half. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Sidori. Peanut butter cup. So good. There you go. Here, you get half. What's in your mouth? Anything? Okay. All right. Let me focus back in. Last card pull. Shuffle. Okay. What divine messages do we have for Susanna today on career change? I almost fell out. But it did not. There we go. Oh, wow. I saw that shuffling. Okay. So as I was shuffling, I saw the card that I have now, but there was 1 card that almost fell out that didn't, but I saw it, and it was the 8 of Cups. The 8 of Cups is like the breakup card. It's, actually, I'm just going to show it since I'm talking about it and it is relevant to the card that I pulled. So it was this card that I saw that didn't, it showed itself. It didn't fall out, right? And so it's interesting. What I always see here is like leaving behind. There's a lot of emotions invested here, but there's a journey. And it's almost like a solemn vibe if you look at the moon there. Again, there's some element of you're being protected, right? And the moon is feeling you. It's like, I feel you, but you know that you have to, go on this journey and possibly leave something behind. The card that actually fell out is the Death card, which is endings, right? Transformation. And as soon as I picked this up, what stood out to me was a little ship in the back. It's so small. Why is it so small? I mean, I guess it's really far away, right? But just looking at the rest of the things going on, I'm like, it's so small. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, maybe this is like there's a small ending to, what needs to be released. Or maybe there's something small that you're being guided to let go of that will help you to, transition into this next phase within your career. But there's a strong indication of releasing something, right? And letting that aspect, or letting it evolve. And what I'm really focusing on too is the sun in the background, right? And this really feels like the solstice energy and just the warmth coming forth, the rising of the sun into its glory, and just a new day coming forth. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty simple. I mean, it feels pretty straightforward, that seeing the Eight of Cups and then seeing the Death card. So like some sort of ending, some sort of release. So Mary says, moon is also feminine energies. Oh, maybe your journey takes me to a great someone coming in on the ship, closing one door and following the light. Yeah, like going on a journey, for sure. Going on a journey. Just the water too. And when I think about being on, like just looking at this particular ship, and it's like what is it, like a sailboat? I'm thinking about the wind and just like gliding on the water. It just feels really peaceful and like a lot of clearing with the element of air, just like how it would feel to just be gliding with the air, even behind you, like just a graceful vibe is what I'm getting. Right. So it can be like releasing with grace and just, going with the flow of things. Right. Because when I see the Death card, it's like you're essentially, I always feel like you're kind of in this and you're almost out of it, right? So there might be one little small detail or a little thing that needs to be released. And yeah. Yeah, awesome. Susanna says, I don't have to completely leave my job to start the other. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Especially what I'm seeing with this card too. It's like the ending and the beginning are both like happening, in this one card. Gracious flow. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been great. Happy solstice to you all. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching this. If you are watching the replay and you made it this far, please let me know what resonates in the comments and such. And subscribe if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber and you really resonate, because I will be doing these live hangouts with the Sabbats, right? So the next one's going to be llamas, halfway in between solstice and equinox. But the little one is here. Do you want to say hi to the people? Say hello. And so we will talk to you all later. Have a beautiful solstice blessings to you all wherever you are, and we'll talk soon. Bye.